14 years on from its inception in 2009, Minecraft is still going strong. Having faced a steady decline of popularity in 2018, a resurgence of interest returned when PewDiePie, the biggest gaming YouTuber of the time, picked up the game again in 2019. The following year was bittersweet. The 2020 pandemic brought another surge of homebound players, either new or rediscovering the game again. It undoubtedly boosted the popularity of Minecraft despite the circumstances. Since then, the interest has been relatively well sustained if this Google Trends chart on searches of Minecraft is anything to go by. With a close eye on the community through my coverage of snapshots and comments left by Minecraft players regarding the game's new content, I felt a shift in reception has occurred over the past few years, and this latest update, Trails and Tales, has done little to move the needle on the mood within the Minecraft community. So with this video, I hope to lay out the past history of Minecraft updates that have led to 1.20, comment on my thoughts of the state of the new Trails and Tales update, and then turn our attention to the future with what I think the game needs in the next update. And just before we go any further, I wanted to let you know that the Hermitcraft trading card game, seen on the Hermitcraft server, has become a real-life card game, and the collector's edition cards for each Hermit is now available on creocards.com. Some of us Hermits will even be offering signed cards, myself included. So if you want to get my card, I will be signing absolutely every single card ordered before the month is out. That's right, you have until the end of the month to get your hands on this card. So check the link in the description box below if you're interested. The Nether update, released June of 2020, was a high point for Minecraft's development. Received to seemingly universal acclaim, overhauling a barren aspect of the game with new biomes, mobs, structures, ores and armor seemed to strike at the heart of what the average Minecrafter wanted, essentially adding a familiar depth to a part of the game that lacked it. Later that year at Minecraft Live 2020, the hype reached new heights unseen before. The promise of a massive overhaul to the overworld had the player base bubbling with excitement, rebuilding the world generation system for new cave formations, underground biomes and increased depth in the world, as well as the promise of the deep dark and archaeology. It had the next update set to be one of the game's greatest. But this is where the trouble begins. Mojang encountered unanticipated growing pains as the goals for the update didn't scale well with the size of the team developing the game. The pressure probably made things worse and resulted in Caves and Cliffs being split into two updates, released June and November of 2021. The Deep Dark was also delayed until the Wild update of June 2022, jokingly called Caves and Cliffs Part 3, and some even refer to Trails and Tales as Part 4, with archaeology originally being intended for that update. Along the way, other frictions have occurred within the Minecraft community. In October of 2020, the migration of Mojang to Microsoft accounts was first announced, upsetting many players who didn't want the hassle or didn't trust Microsoft with more of their personal information. Then in July of 2022 came the hastily added player chat reports to 1.19.1. These sudden changes stirred outrage among a player base fearful of misuse and abuse of such moderation tools, and recent selective enforcement of EULA policies has gained traction as servers with guns have been targeted alongside reports of players being banned for griefing. All of this, of course, not helping the community spirit. A lot of anger and frustration is levied towards Mojang developers, and personally I think these issues relate more to management. The account migration, moderation changes, and EULA enforcement strike me as top-down corporate decisions with aims and goals outside of the game's development. It could also be influenced by Microsoft as some of these changes align with their style. This souring within the Minecraft community has undoubtedly influenced the scrutiny on the game's development, leading to some vocal frustration online from Mojang employees. And in similar spaces like Twitter, I've seen the discussion around this latest update is rather mixed. Now that we have established that this update arrived on the heels of a tricky period for the Minecraft community, I want to take a look at the Trails and Tales update without letting that drama influence my thoughts, as I think that has influenced at least some of the dissatisfaction I've seen online, a growing sentiment that everything Mojang does is terrible somehow. Focusing purely on the game itself, I'd summarize 1.20 as a safe update, with little in the way of big, bold, or game-changing features, yet no big missteps or awkward additions like the Phantom. Ugh! What is that screeching sound? It's so soothing and pleasant on my eardrums. What thrilling game design and being harassed. What is your purpose in life, eh? Let's start with my favourite additions. Signs. Yes, signs. Hanging or normal, I don't mind. It's the ability to simply right-click to edit a sign. So simple and intuitive, and saves you the hassle of removing and replacing. It begs the question, why now? Why not sooner? And what other glaringly obvious changes could get similar treatment? Also, the ability to edit both sides is a real nice touch. A simple change Minecrafters have been suggesting for the longest time. Next up, pink pedals. You might think I am joking at this point, but hear me out. Flowers in this game are rather static, mostly consisting of a graphic with a predetermined randomized position on a block, and even that aspect is not controlled by the player. Then comes pink petals. Like candles and sea pickles, you can have 1 to 4 flowers. They are also placeable in 4 rotations, leading to 16 combinations that are very intuitive to assemble. A decent implementation of something that would be more impressive if it wasn't flat like a carpet in this case. It's the flexibility for variety that I think is really well implemented. The chiseled bookshelf. It ticks all the boxes. The ability to actually store your books in it is another idea that Minecrafters have been suggesting since the very first bookshelf block. The fact that you can choose what slot the books go in is another fantastic quirk, as this gives the bookshelf a great depth of customization that can go further at scale. Working with redstone, it changes based on the last slot you interacted with, a great way to bring something new to an enduring component of the game. The Piglin head and note block additions. A new head is always welcome, the animations are a bonus, and giving us the ability to create mob sounds on demand will be much fun for shenanigans on multiplayer servers. All around, a really straightforward and again intuitive system to bring a little extra to existing features. The smithing templates are a little on the tedious side, but giving players reward for exploration of the world is always welcome. It adds a little more purpose and meaning to some of Minecraft's barren structures, if you have a reason to go there. The armor trim that comes as a result of your time spent exploring the world is well worth the effort. Being able to customize your appearance will undoubtedly appeal to most Minecrafters and create a gratifying experience upon completion, until you die in lava and lose all your hard-earned trims. The camel gets merit for distinguishing itself. As the game gets cluttered with the addition of new mobs on each update, what they actually bring to the game beyond ambience is important. Being rideable by 2 players, having a chargeable dash ability instead of jumping, and offering vertical distance from hordes of zombies is a nice touch. Although most useful in multiplayer, it's a far better implementation compared to some of the previous real-world mobs. Next up, bamboo blocks, another set of wood-adjacent building materials. These textures are decent, but don't necessarily feel like they target a missing part of the Minecraft color spectrum. The mosaic is a decent pattern though, and creating this new set of blocks out of an existing bamboo plant is an approach I'd like to see given to other existing parts of the game. The missed opportunity here is with the raft. Great idea to make it look different, but why not change its behavior too? Perhaps give it speed in exchange for increased fragility, or the ability to carry big mobs like the new sniffer or camel. Variety makes this game a lot of fun after all. What can I say about the cherry blossom biome and the new trees? The biome itself is just a home for trees and petals, nothing majorly different, which isn't always needed. The tree offers a new challenge for redstone farmers, and the leaves come with particle effects, an underserved part of the game when it comes to giving the player the ability to control such ambient effects. Its big merit is of course for building, being the first set of pastel coloured building blocks. For that alone, maybe I should have ranked this a little higher on my list. I do hope that more pastel blocks will be added to the game in the future. The Sniffer, a change of pace, a sluggish beast offering Minecraft uniqueness by not emulating a real-world animal. Its slow movement gives it distinction among many mobs that move at equal pace, although the turtle is equally slow. Plundering a warm ocean ruin for a sniffer egg is certainly different and gratifying upon discovery, but of course you would need 2 eggs to get breeding, which does make it a bit of a grind. It's also rather noisy with its goofy moans, have too many of them in a farm and they make quite the racket. Its ability to sniff out seeds of unique plants is fantastic though, what a great idea. However, the promise of the sniffer feels to have fallen a little short. With only 2 plants added as a result, it feels a little underwhelming and I can't help but feel this might get forgotten about. I wouldn't be surprised if it took a few updates for another flower or 2 to be added. As for the torch flower, nothing too special, it doesn't emit light like the name suggests, and the pitcher plant looks alien. A bold move, but neither of these add anything more than a few new textures to work with. As a redstoner, you might be expecting me to sing the praises of the calibrated sculk sensor. At first it seemed rather logical, addressing the flaws of the original sculk sensor that many of us thought could revolutionize redstone contraptions. The issue? Well, it's not intuitive to use. You have to look up a list of its uses from an external source. Vibrations are grouped into categories, and because of this, it's hard to imagine using the sensor in a unique use case without other similar game events interfering with it. Assigning the sensor a vibration to detect by creating that event you want to be detected nearby would have been both interactive and intuitive, and would have given the player so many more opportunities with this block. Despite its promise, I feel like this was a big missed opportunity, and I doubt it's going to revolutionize redstone. The decorated pot, a cool block. It can be used for building, and the placement of other blocks on top of it is a nice touch for a variety of small details. But it's a pot, and pots can be used to store things unseen, which maybe this game lacks. It would be nice to have a block you could hide something inside for another player to discover through interaction. I guess the closest thing we have is a chest you can't open, or a bundle in an item frame, except those aren't in the game yet, right? Anyway, you can also break the pot, which would have been a fun way to reveal what's inside. You can't break pots at a distance with arrows though. Sure, a skeleton might accidentally shoot and break a pot on occasion, but couldn't that add a little more life and liveliness to the world? Not every feature has to be perfectly safe. Remember, lightning strikes can hit a freshly built wooden home and burn it to the ground. Lastly, archaeology. This is just my opinion, but the whole thing is dull. Slowly swiping away at suspicious blocks with low chances of decent loot is tedious. The dig sites are also completely safe. No sense of risk and reward with traps and other dangers lurking nearby as you gather your treasures. It really feels like a shallow feature that never got to live up to its potential. Perhaps the goal was to emulate a less exciting reality, in which case I'd say that is a poor choice of reasoning when trying to add value to a computer game. At least the smithing templates can be duplicated. Once obtained, you can forget about the activity that got you them. The same can't be said of sherds. There are 20 of them in total. But hey, let's flip the script. Maybe some things in this game should be unique and rare, difficult to get hold of, and perhaps that was the point of them all along. If the act of obtaining them was exciting, I think it would have been a win-win. So as I said, the Trails and Tales update feels like a safe bet, a solid update where many types of player can find something to enjoy. I do doubt, however, it would rank among favourite updates for most players. With the sourness still lingering in the community, it would be nice to see an update bring universal acclaim again. Of course, you can never please everyone, but what do Mojang need to do to win over players again? I don't have the answers, and with nothing yet known about 1.20.1, we could speculate endlessly on what could be added to the game, but I do have what I think is a solid idea to share. The End Dimension. It's a barren part of the game that serves just a handful of purposes. An overhaul is unlikely to rustle any feathers given how repetitive the landscapes are, and how little content beyond the player's imagination is found here. Emulating the success of the Nether update could be relatively straightforward, as the End Dimension is like a blank canvas fit for new biomes and structures. These are familiar concepts that can feel fresh with the creative freedom the area of the game offers in its expansion. I'd also like to see Jeb, creator of the Ocean Monument, work on the game again, or at least his approach to game design. I've always thought this was a top-notch addition, adding challenge, adventure and reward through a structure the player can conquer. The Guardian mob has a fantastic character in both aesthetics and behaviour. A player armed with gameplay knowledge can also make lighter work without entirely choosing the challenge at hand. The structure is home to unique blocks, and due to the spawning area of its native inhabitants, many a player have been encouraged to drain the ocean and undertake mega builds in order to farm materials and build an impressive spectacle in the process. This unified approach of themed blocks and mobs within a structure that offers rewards for conquering it seems to work well. Take the end cities, also designed by Jeb. The vertical exploration pairs well with the shulker box's elevation attack, offering a wildly different experience from typical Minecraft PvE. Shulker shells looted along the way are invaluable, and collecting an elytra at the end is a huge payoff, at least when getting your first, because after that you can continuously fly to the end city boats and snag all the best loot. My suggestion is pretty open-ended, and honestly I don't have much to offer beyond pointing out what many of you already know. The end is a blank canvas for more content and also a place to be bold and daring. But with my critiques of 1.20, I did touch on some decent game design ideals to bring forth. For example, pastel colours are underrepresented, so new blocks addressing missing parts of the spectrum would be most welcome. Giving new uses to old plants like bamboo does no harm and enriches the existing game. Quality of life changes like those given to the sign are an easy win, and there is plenty of room for old systems to be improved. Like the camel, adding mobs should be done with at least a few distinguishing mechanics beyond its aesthetic appearance. Fulfilling old promises would be another crowd pleaser too. The birch biome overhaul, a use for the fletching table, finally adding bundles, and what about the PvP update? The last few years have been rocky. I think that going low-key on the next update and plucking some of this low-hanging fruit in the process would be a good move. Either way, it feels like the community is in need of an update we can rally around and really renew the excitement for this game that nothing else has been able to dislodge from its throne. There is still no other experience out there quite like Minecraft, and after a rocky couple of years, it seems evident we could all do with a win. If you have any of your own ideas and opinions you'd like to share, join in the conversation down below with a comment. I look forward to reading them. And don't forget about the Hermitcraft TCG cards. If you want a collector's edition card, they are available to order until the end of the month, so check the link in the description box. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Well, I know how to deal with you. We'll just pop inside here, have a little bit of a nap. Oh, and look at that. That's what you get for screeching. You're burning up. You're burning up a fuss. That was the best Minecraft experience that I've ever had.